Tonight, we'll explore the attitudes Generation Next has about race in our society. We'll look at the role color and class has played in their lives and how it shaped their perspectives. Coming up next on Basic Black.
Good evening, I'm Darren Duarte. For each generation, their personal experiences influences their perspectives on both society and culture. Now, these experiences act like prisms that help them define who they are and how they perceive the world around them. On tonight's edition of Basic Black, we'll meet a few young people who are part of Generation Next, or Generation X. Now, they got together several months ago and shared their thoughts, their ideas, and opinions about race and culture. We start things off with Alicia.
I don't know why I seem like I'm on a whole totally different frame of mind about this whole race issue, but I mean, I'm not as carefree, I'm not, you know, but I don't think about this, oh, where is this place him, where is this place her, where does this black person live, where does this white person live? Who cares? You know, my family's black.
So you have people care where you live. Yep. And where you're coming from, because they think, oh, you know, she lives in Dorchester, oh, she must be, you know, a gangbanger, she must be packing something or whatever, she must be into this, she must be into that.
I don't think about that because I don't do that. So
yes, that's you, but let me tell you something right now.
It is me, it's just me.
Well, then either you're living on some like parallel plane or just like
you're not facing reality.
Well, maybe life doesn't hit me yet because I don't, you know, I don't think about, oh, well, I'm about to walk past this group of, you know, older white women. They're going to think I'm going to do something. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me what they're going to think because I don't do that. I don't rob. I don't steal. And I'm not going to rob them. And I'm not going to steal them.
Okay. But even it obviously affects you because you just said, I don't rob, I don't steal. I mean,
exactly, but I mean, I don't think about that. That's not what our conversation is about. I don't, you know, think about where am I going to move, you know, when I get older because, oh, I can't move there because they're going to think I do something.
No, but we're not saying that just because I'm black that I can't move to Western because I'm afraid they're gonna. I don't care what they ain't got nothing to do with me. They're not paying my bills. They didn't find the house for me. They're not getting my job for me. Whatever. But the matter of fact, the thing is, if that realtor, the person who's gonna sell me that house, is sitting up there being like, oh, Scoot, she has some nappy hair. She must live in Dorchester. She must. I'm not gonna sell it. That's when it's a problem.
If they didn't say it to you, you're thinking that. If they don't come and say, excuse me, Desiree, you have nappy hair and you are not gonna live in this neighborhood.
Actions speak louder than words.
Exactly.
Until they deliberately say, you know, until you sign that line, I'm going to buy this house, and they go, oh, I'm about to. If they say to you, I'm about to rip this up when I go to my house, you know what I'm saying? You have nothing to complain about.
I can tell you right now, I went to a store. I went to an antique store to buy watches. I am a watch collector. There was a white woman there. I went in there. She automatically assumed that I did not have enough money. I asked her for something to see. She said, is that in your range? What would you think? What would you do at that time?
I mean, I get offended at that point, but I mean, did you go into the store thinking she was going to do it? I mean, a lot of times we, you know, being a minority, I mean, you do have to be self-conscious, but you don't have to have your guard up at all times.
What you're saying is not that, it's not that you don't, it's not, I mean, correct me if I'm misinterpreting, but you're not saying that racism does not exist. You're saying that you don't expect and you don't assume it until it happens.
Exactly. I don't.
Like you're not. It's like what you're saying is that you don't go around like everyone's automatically against me because I'm black.
I don't see it that way at all.
But what are you going to do when somebody comes up to you?
I will handle that when it happens, but I don't think because you deal with it when it happens. You don't think about, okay, tomorrow, let me think tomorrow. I might go to a store tomorrow and I might just get harassed because I'm black. I don't think about that. If it happens at that time, I will deal with it at that time.
Exactly. If it happens,
I'm black. I know I'm black.
Okay. Priscilla, did you end up buying that watch in that store?
No, I didn't, because it was just aggravating me. If I wasn't prepared, like I mentioned to Alicia, you have to be prepared for situations like that. I would have been so ignorant and just added on to the racism. So I just turned around and left.
Let me ask you this: have you ever been following this store?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. As a matter of fact, it was by I'm assuming an African American. Security guard.
How about you?
No, not that I know of.
That's the kind of
time.
Well, can I say? I just gotta say something about that. Honestly, like I'm looking at you. I'm just looking at your skin color. Have pretty much the same color skin as I do. So how can that be? I mean, just by like a race issue, you know, like that's not a.
obviously not a black and white issue. So that's, there you go, is bringing into what you were talking about before with the different races.
But it's not about the skin color all the time. It's also about the skin color, hair type, eye color, age is very important, weight, size. Some people can judge you by your thickness.
I think we're confusing a lot of race things with things like youth and general appearance. Like, I mean, people treat, like, I treat people differently, like, on the basis a lot of times about how I see them. You know, like, I mean, how they carry themselves. For instance, like when I walk into a store, I mean, I'm a very tall person. I carry myself, I consider, with a lot of confidence. I mean, I really care about my appearance. You know, I try to look very clean and, you know, very, you know, attentive, you know, so that I don't cause a problem by any sorts. But I mean, some people see different kinds of way of carrying yourself as a threat.
I guess.
I mean, if you think about it.
But like, I've had situations, like, I've been walking through the mall with a group of black males, and I've had a security officer intentionally pick a fight with these black males for no particular reason.
How do you mean, like, pick a fight?
Like, we were walking along, and the security officer, I guess, was like in back of us or whatever, and he was like, "Excuse me, what'd you say?" And my friend turned around and was like, "I didn't say anything." He's like, "You getting an attitude?" And we're sitting there like, he done lost his mind. And it ended up that the security officer of like the mall, whatever, ended up dragging one of my friends downstairs into the office because we were walking through the mall. So how do you explain something like that?
Well, that's just a clear-cut, you know, point of an individual person who happened to be, I mean, I wasn't there, but it appears to me that it's a real racist incident that had happened with one particular person. But then there's another one, like, my friend, he doesn't like to drive when cops are around because he's like, oh God, they're gonna pull me over. He's why should he be just sitting there like, oh, the cops are gonna pull me over? Has he ever gotten pulled over for no apparent reason?
Yes, and he's had friends who've gotten pulled over for no apparent reason.
Well, I mean, there's so many instances of people, you know, who do everyday things, and then it seems like the little stories kind of jump out at you. I mean, it's the credibility of some of these stories is not always certain. I mean, it's very difficult to think about.
You're talking about credibility. Yeah. I've been followed by cops. I had my car for 2 days and was followed home by a cop.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is that there's so many instances where people do everyday things that the stories that just get repeated over and over and over again are like a few, like individual moments that I don't really say.
Moments. It happens across the
sort of hard. It's sort of hard to respond to that because it's what it is blatant racism. I mean, that's
for us. I mean, for us as the white people here. It is also so hard for us to relate to that because it has never, and probably will never happen to me.
Now here in Boston, just the mere words affirmative and action conjure up images of quotas and set-asides. Now whether these are institutional, corporate, or educational, those issues always spark tension on both sides.
I go to a predominantly white school, and it's a private school, and I remember the year before last year, a friend of mine got into Stanford out in California, and one of her classmates said to her, the only reason you got in there is because you're black. And for me,
said that straight out?
You're kidding.
Yeah.
Really?
And to me, that hurt a lot. First of all, that I know my friend has worked so hard to get to where she's gone to, and she doesn't, I mean, even though she knows why she got in there, she doesn't need that in the back of her head.
Yeah, that's wrong.
To be sitting there and be like, oh, maybe it's just because of the color of my skin that I'm in here. And I know for me personally, next year, going into senior year, is going to be very difficult because I know people are going to question, you know, if I do get accepted to a school, if I don't.
You know, when the whole quota system thing was going around my school,
yeah.
You know, I wondered how many, like, you know, Caucasians walk by me like, oh, she got in here because she's black. You know, some people do think like that. I mean, not everyone.
But that's why we talked about this before. That's why I don't. That's what bothers me about affirmative action. I mean, doesn't that? I mean, I can't speak because I can't really speak directly to that because I've never obviously faced a race issue like, you know, I mean, not getting into something because I'm black, but you know, I mean, obviously, but like. But doesn't, I mean, that, I would think that would bother you. Like,
no, but see, the thing is, the thing that upsets me with the way people view affirmative action today is that they don't view it as sort of equal opportunity. They view it as sort of a special opportunity because of the color of your skin when it's not. Because before affirmative action, if I went to apply for a job, to get into a school, a certain program, etc., they might not even look at me just because of the mere fact that I was black. And the way I see affirmative action, I could be wrong, is that at least you have a chance to be viewed equally, or at least they have to view you and they have to take you into consideration regardless of your color. It doesn't mean that they have to take you because of your color.
But there are other ways to make people, you know, realize, you know, to make people look at everybody equally.
But the thing is, we've been trying for so long now. They need to have some sort of legislation that says this is what you have to do, because if you left it up to the general population, we'd be going on like this for a long time. I mean, we've been going on like this for centuries now, and you need somebody or some person who's high up in the government, etc., in the law to say this is what you need to do to uphold that responsibility. Because if you don't, if you leave it up to everyone, I can't even say that, you know, me personally, if I had a business and there was no affirmative action, what's to say that I wouldn't hire women? What's to say that I wouldn't hire, you know, a white male, etc.?
But why is it always black and white?
It's not. Affirmative action is for everyone.
But for affirmative action, it's a lot of it is for like African Americans.
Yeah, I have a question for you. You mentioned something about how black people get to school and stuff because it shouldn't be said that it's because of their color. I wanted to ask you, as being a white female, have you ever been faced with probably a black female or male telling you, oh, you just got into the school because you got money?
I've had people say it. Like I went to high school. I went to a private school, and I didn't have any kind of financial aid or anything. And I definitely had people say to me that, you know, well, part of the reason you're here, or not even part of the reason you're here, but you know, the school likes you because you pay full tuition and stuff. And it's, I mean, I don't know. What are you getting at?
I think it's just playing from
the exact same way.
It's playing from two extremes. You have these in colleges you have like family legacies. Oh, all my family went here. We have our family money in the oil fields in Texas. We all have a lot of money. Or Mr. X over here got in because he's black. I mean, it's not exactly the same thing.
The thing is that that's the thing. As far as like school, as far as like school admissions go, and I learned a lot about this like going through my senior year. As far as school admissions go, I mean, people get into schools for so many different reasons. Like there was one school that I applied to that I didn't get into, and two black guys in my class got into. And my class is very small. It's 20 people in my class. And you know, it wasn't really brought up a lot, but it was like we had similar grades, similar SAT scores, and I mean, you know, so things like that. And it's sort of like, it's like, well, why did they get in and I didn't get in? And it's sort of like I can feel maybe how it's sort of like, I guess you call it reverse racism. But people, what I'm saying also is people get into schools for a lot of different reasons. Like someone might get in because they're, you know, you want someone from this town or from this area, or you want someone, you know, I mean, you have no idea why you get into school.
There's no question in my mind that a school should...
There's no such thing as reverse racism. Racism is race.
Racism is for any race.
It's not a one-way street.
Yes.
I mean, that's...
But there's no question in my mind, talking about colleges and universities and other schools, there's no question in my mind that a school should strive for diversity, because we are an extremely diverse culture. The question is how they go about it. If they do it like, oh, we have an Asian American, a Black American, you know, a Hispanic American, oh, let's take them because that's who they are, you know, that's where they come from. No, you have to, you know, find ways to attract. You know, people should want to come to a school for...
I think on a test, I go to exam school, Boston Latin. I think when I went to take the test, I got up at 8 o'clock that Saturday morning because I was dedicated and tried to get into school. I shouldn't have had to fill in a little circle of my race. That shouldn't matter. I should have had my name, my address, and my test. That's all it should have been.
See, that's what
I fully understand what you're saying, that as a person, as an individual who's striving towards a certain goal, your race should not have to do with how you get there. But the thing is, I personally feel that we have to face the reality that we live in a race-conscious society, and a society where your race does play a role.
Affirmative action may continue to dominate the discussion around race these days. However, in pro sports, the numbers appear to bend in the other direction. Images of great athletes like Michael Jordan, for example, are synonymous with sports in our society. But the dominance of blacks in sports can lead to interpretations based on race.
Now in basketball, can you get up so you touch the rim?
Well, I mean, if I try, I mean, I ain't got mad ups.
6'1", I can't. White man can't jump.
No, it ain't like that.
Because she's black and tall that she can jump?
No.
I mean,
She's tall.
he said white men can't jump, but
Well, if he can't jump.
that's like a stereotype. That's a stereotype, though, because
No, but I mean,
It's a misconception, but it's a widely spoken misconception.
conception, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
You know, that I don't think a lot of people have a problem with, but it's still like
Yeah,
it's
some
almost
people
like
say it.
common knowledge, almost that like black people, for a lot of people, have
Well, a lot of
ups.
black people do play basketball, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
but
not-
then a lot of white people play basketball too.
That's
The,
true.
the
You know what I'm
NBA
saying? Like-
percentages is a black-dominated sport.
I guess,
Yeah.
but still.
But I mean,
But if they're better,
but
look
just
at
stating
baseball.
that,
better.
Well, is it
like
there?
a lot of black people have ups and stuff, that could be considered
Oh,
racial, right?
I think it is a stereotype, but it's like, you know, if you tell that to somebody, they'd be like, well, I heard that one before, you know?
But is that, I mean,
I
is that
guess so.
necessarily racist, though? Because that's not a bad thing. It kind of builds on itself. You know, I mean, African Americans maybe see, like, a lot of other African Americans playing basketball who they look up to, like, you know.
You hear
I
the
mean,
stories-
like,
Yeah,
you hear
Michael
the stories
Jordan
all the
is...
time of people, you know, stars, African American stars from the, even some from Africa, but that, you know, were raised in the ghetto,
Right.
and then grew up to be your star. And so maybe that's, you know,
Yeah, I
it's a
mean,
sense
just
of
as
hope.
far as,
It's one
like,
of
role models and who you look up to, someone usually who you identify with.
what exactly do you think a ghetto is?
Yeah. I was just like,
Because I mean, I know the dictionary definition for a ghetto.
yeah.
What do you mean by
what-
sense of hope? Like a way to get out, or what?
Oh wait,
Well,
yeah.
you know, we talk about
Like that's the only way they can get out through athletics?
no, not out. You talk about a society that, you know, that since I was raised, I have been, you know, I have expected my future to lead me to, you know, through high school and to college. And if that is not an option, whether it be for money or other influences, I don't know, then a lot of times that could be something that people see as an option. I mean, I don't know. I'm not part of that, so I can't fairly comment on it. But
I think it has.
Sports
I
is
don't know if it has to
sometimes-
do with like getting out or whatever, but
Yeah, I
I
don't
think it's
think so
sort of. I think it's something that has been sort of shoved at us as something that we can do.
Yeah.
You know,
Sports
like
is something that
it's something
people
that's been
can-
pushed
it's
into the
natural.
African American
So you're saying
communities.
it's something that's expected of us?
Yeah, like with the whole all society says, oh, it's okay. You know, that's something that they can excel at. We'll give them that. You know, and it's a lot harder for a black male in particular to thrive and go through school, etc., to become an MD or a PhD because it's not portrayed as much. It's not, you don't see it as much in the media, etc. You know, and then when you get to the money part of it, basketball is looked at as quick money. You know what I'm saying? You're in the NBA, you get your first check, bam. If you're gonna go for your PhD, you have to go through 4 years of college, and then like however many years of grad school, and then you have to like
Pay
get
off
yourself
the
like
loan.
known
it's also
or
a question
whatever.
of being able to relate to it. If you take a young African American kid who, you know, my dreams have come through my, you know, seeing people that I can, you know, aspire to being like. And if there is, you know, if there aren't a lot of people for this young African American kid, then he may have this, you know, it's kind of like that. It's never an option for him in his mind, maybe.
I don't know
Or
if
it's not that it's not an option, but it's
Or
it's
not
sort
as-
of like it's easier. I mean, it's like
It just
Well, I
seems
don't think getting to
accessible.
professional basketball is easier than being a PhD.
well, I don't mean
I don't.
okay. I didn't mean all right. I didn't mean easier. I mean just like it's more immediate. You know, I mean you see the media bombards you with these images of black basketball stars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or
They see it all the
black
time.
people in sports, and it's like I'm bombarded with it, and I'm a white female. You know, so it's like this is.
But then that gets into a problem of the media and the role that they play in sort of shaping someone's views of themselves. Because if I'm a young black female, before the WNBA, I didn't see any black females playing basketball, etc. So what do I have to look up to? You know what I mean?
When it comes to people of color and sports, misconceptions always seem to flourish. And there's no doubt that debate's going to continue. Now, skill and talent may be gauged with an eye towards science and environment, but when it comes to attraction, what matters the most is the heart. And our Generation Xers is about to talk to us about something that used to be considered taboo, and that's called jungle fever. Whites and blacks, blacks and Asians, Asians and Latinos, whatever the mix, when it comes to love and romance, it seems like we're breaking all the rules.
I can't say I mind my business totally all the time, but it's like whoever makes you happy. I don't care if you're purple going with someone who is orange. It doesn't make a difference to me.
Whoever,
It doesn't make a difference to me.
I understand what you all are saying, and I personally, I don't think I'd interfere or have anything particular to say if I saw someone else in an interracial relationship, but I know personally for me that it would not work.
Just it wouldn't work because of
I don't think I could date.
Mental? I mean, is it something
yeah,
in
for
you?
me it's more of where I'm coming from, I guess, in terms of my view of race and
So you're fine seeing other people dating people of a different race, but you can't do it yourself?
Yes.
Why?
How do you feel?
I don't even know how to start out like
Personal preference.
yeah, I guess my personal preference. Like I personally, like in terms of white males, I guess I'm not. Like I'll find white males that I'm attracted to, but I can't see myself having a relationship with them on that level.
Even if they have everything in common with you and they're all nice to you.
But see, that's the thing. I don't think they could have everything in common with me.
No one
Because
can
of their
have
white.
anything-
Yeah,
everything
exactly.
with
Well,
anybody.
what I'm saying is, for me personally, I can't see myself. I can relate better to black males than I can to white males. That's how I view it.
I mean, that's
And
what you
why
view
I
it
would-
now, but you have not met every white man.
That's what no, I'm not
So,
saying that.
you
I'm
can
not
say
saying that I will never
exactly,
date a white man and that there's no white man out there for me. But all I'm saying is, for me personally, at this point in time, I cannot see myself having a relationship
What
with
about
a
other
white
races?
male.
Why not? I mean, what is it about white men? Yeah, like what about other races?
I think
white
for
men
me,
specifically?
right now,
What about
it's black.
Spanish men or
What is
See,
white men?
Asian men?
For me,
Right, what
I
is
view.
white men?
I don't know if I could. For me, I think I'm more comfortable with black males.
All right, well, let me
I
ask
agree with
Priscilla.
that.
You're,
Half Chinese, half Puerto Rican.
so what's your preference?
My preference, I mean, there's not a specific preference, but I'm really, really attracted to black males. I mean, I don't know why. It's just I like black males. You know, they really attract me. But if a Caucasian brother came up to me and was like, "Yo, what's up?" You know, I give him a chance. But
So how would your
that's me.
family react with
My
whoever
family.
you bring home? Who would they react? Who would they react the most to?
I'd say African American.
They would
In a
react
negative way.
negatively to
Negatively.
it? Or, really?
Negatively. Most of the time, not really like, oh my God, what is he doing in my house? But just like Priscilla, you know, why that culture? And I just tell him straight up, this is who he is.
Right.
This is who I like.
really think that I have one of the greatest families in America today. My family is, I don't know if they're putting on a stage for me or putting on a show, but they have been happy with anyone I brought home for them to meet. As long as they've met them and they're not rude, ignorant, disrespectful towards me, they're happy with them. I mean,
Well, that's what's important. I mean, it's like, what are you looking for? It's sort of a superficial to say, I will date this race, I won't date this race, because it's like you're cutting yourself off. I mean, you're limiting yourself. I mean, I don't know. Like, I have to say, like, I think that it's sort of racist of you to say you won't date
I
white
understand
men.
that. I'm not saying that I'm
But what
completely
is a
just
white
in
male?
saying
What is a white male?
a
Yeah,
white
what
male.
categorizes a white
to you
male? Is it a
with
Caucasian?
I know.
But what
Just
categorizes
pale?
a black
Black male. Yeah, I mean, what
Puerto Rican
categorizes
male,
a
you know
Puerto
what I'm
Rican
saying?
male?
What categorizes them?
Asian
Well,
male?
but
If
what do you
want to get
consider
down
a
to
white
it,
male? What do
I'm
you
not
consider
necessarily
a
That's
white
a
black.
different question. See,
So,
that's better put.
I mean, for me, whatever society's definition of a white male is what I consider.
All right, so
What
you're
do you-
saying
so
like
what is
white
society's
male,
definition?
and then everybody else is just
No, not everybody else is a black male either. It's
not just a black person, but just the.
You have Asians, you have Hispanics.
So
you
where
have
do they
whites,
fall?
You have
So it's
blacks,
Are they in
you have
society's
West Indians.
definition
You're
of
saying
white
white
male?
males are the majority, and Asians, blacks, and everything else.
So it's a
is
white and minority grouping. I mean,
In terms of dating,
Is it
Would you date an
white,
Asian man?
black, and whatever
I
else there
personally can't
is?
see myself with an Asian
Lyle.
person.
Most of the time, that's what it's perceived as white
White
and
and black,
minorities.
yeah.
That is most of
That
the
is
time.
what-
That is
yeah.
exactly what it's like.
But I
It's
think
not white and
I think
Asian
it's
or
kind of
white and
What
ignorant
is
black.
for
white?
somebody
I
of
still
our
don't
age,
understand. What
somebody
do you
of our-
guys consider white
well,
male?
do you really think the society? I mean, I think that if, and me personally, this could be my own. I wouldn't name it racism, but if I see a white man, black woman, white man walking down the street, it's not like I question myself about it, but there is, like not a double take, and not like I'm surprised, but there's that extra look.
We have an added treat for you on Basic Black, something I'm very excited about. It's noted Harvard professor Charles Ogletree will be joining us from time to time, sharing his commentaries. Charles, welcome.
Well, thank you very much. I'm very much looking forward to this. I think there are a lot of important issues that need to be discussed about politics, about law, and we're going to look at issues controversially, we'll look at issues that are provocative and not always a clear answer. The goal here is to raise some important questions and let the public know how serious we are about probing these issues. And I look forward to it.
It's a great vehicle for us and a great vehicle for you, too.
Looking forward to it.
Charles, thanks. Don't forget to check him out, Charles Ogletree, on Basic Black.
The United States Supreme Court was scheduled to hear an important civil rights case this fall. But that case is not on the court's agenda anymore. It's not on the agenda because a group of civil rights leaders paid the plaintiff, a white woman who was before the Supreme Court, to make sure that her case would never be heard. This is a case of a New Jersey school system that decided when they had two equally qualified people, a black woman and a white woman, to promote the black woman because of diversity. The white woman sued, and the case went all the way to the Supreme Court. Civil rights leaders felt that this case might make bad law. It might set back affirmative action. And they raised hundreds of thousands of dollars and paid this plaintiff so her case would never be heard before the Supreme Court. I'm wondering, what would Thurgood Marshall be thinking today? I'm wondering if they recognize that Thurgood Marshall once said it was always his obligation to do what was right and wait for the law to catch up with him. Is the civil rights community retreating? Are we failing in our obligation to take tough cases to the highest courts, whatever may happen, and to see that justice ultimately prevails? I think a serious mistake has been made. And if we want to go into the 21st century really addressing civil rights, we can't shirk our responsibilities. We can't duck these issues. We have to take them head on. That's my opinion.
You've heard from a variety of young people tonight, and in their sharing with us, hopefully we've learned a little bit more about ourselves. And in opening our minds, perhaps we're able to expand our understanding a little bit more. That'll do it for this edition of Basic Black. I'm Darren Duarte. Thanks for joining us. Good night, everybody.